We're diving a bit deeper with the tips today and getting a bit more advanced, going in a little deeper on topics. If you've been watching a lot of streamers or videos, you may be aware of some of these, but I know I still get asked daily on how to do some of these tricks, as well as some new tips that I've picked up that I think you would find really valuable. Starting us out is everyone's current favorite trick: how to get extra distance on your redeploy by reboosting. Simply be facing straight upwards in the direction you want to go when reaching the top of the balloon, then hold free look so you can still navigate your way around and target specific objects to get the boost off of. When you get in close proximity of the ground or objects, you pull out your little thrusters to help soften the landing. It's directional though, and if you're facing upwards, your character will go up. Because you're holding straight up as you go off the balloon and hold free look, your character is still facing straight up, but you're free looking, just moving the camera in any direction. Now, anytime you go near an object, it will continue to thrust you upwards, but you can still free look to make sure you can navigate your way around and get close to objects to make sure that continues to trigger more often and give you more distance. If you need to change directions at any time, simply let go of free look, point yourself upwards in whichever direction you want to go, and then hold free look once again to make sure you can guide yourself. Along the same lines of getting yourself moving faster, you can also get a slight speed increase by sliding and jumping out of that slide animation. You don't want to slide and immediately jump, but rather slide, let it go for a bit, and then jump before you lose the movement speed, especially if you've been sliding down a hill, or can further leverage this by jumping off of a cliff. You get a slight movement speed increase while you're sliding, and by jumping into the air, you retain that movement speed for a slightly longer duration, since you're not on the ground yet, which is going to slow that movement speed back to normal. Don't just use this for moving around though, also leverage this for your heals. You can't heal while ziplining, but as soon as you jump off or you jump off a cliff, you can heal while in air, as well as while sliding. Even on a smaller scale, you can take advantage of a slide jump heal to quickly maneuver yourself behind cover. Start all heals while sliding. While here, I also wanted to test the benefit of sliding off of something, even if it wasn't in the direction you were going. But even just those few extra steps to the side in order to get that little slide boost down the hill slowed my speed, not making it worth it. Just take advantage of the hill when it's in the direction you're going. One of the most popular guns right now is the Wingman, and there's a hidden use behind it that you can also take advantage of, which is shooting open doors. Maybe you're at range and have a frag grenade, or just need to get a clean line of sight for you and your team to shoot through. Take a shot on the right third of the door that it would open from, opposite of the hinges. Even a fully closed door will open upon you shooting it. This is also applicable to the longbow sniper rifle, and assumingly with new guns coming out, anything that packs a big punch with a single bullet. Surprisingly, it does not work with shotguns, any of the machine guns, nor the scout sniper rifle. Besides getting in the way, these doors can be quite useful though. If you can't climb up to a position, but there's a door available, climb right onto the door and you might be able to reach that higher ledge. One of the most useful cases for this is market. You're just out of reach from reaching the roof. However, closing one of these doors and climbing on top of it easily gets you right up to the top without having to run all the way around to use the stairs or the zip in the middle. One of the harder things about this game is the small magazine size relative to the health pool the enemies have. Oftentimes, instead of reloading, it's faster to just switch your gun, and there's a way to make that even faster. After switching guns, crouch, and you can start shooting even sooner as it cancels the rest of the animation pulling the gun out. This will work with the toggle crouch, which will leave you in the crouch position and is not quite as ideal, but it also works with the push to hold crouch button, which you can bind to a separate key that you can throw in when you need to use this. In the control, I held down left click the entire time, switched weapons, and it automatically started shooting when it was ready. In the crouch switch, as soon as I hit to switch weapons, immediately after I press crouch, which immediately brings the guns out and cancels the rest of the animation. I think with practice, this can get even better and is far superior to having to reload. When you are in longer, more drawn-out fights, it's incredibly important to dodge and don't be an easy shot for them. One of the most common practices is to strafe. It's good to do this while shooting, but in addition, when reloading, not sitting still and constantly moving. As long as your gun is not aimed down sight, you actually move the same speed as going for a full sprint strafe for short, quick dashes. You can also reload while sprinting, jumping, sliding, so staying mobile is incredibly important. But you've probably accidentally crouched while you were trying to go for a slide while reloading, and ultimately stopped making yourself an easy target. The key to remember here is do not turn more than 90 degrees and immediately slide. If you make a turn that is greater than 90 degrees, you actually lose some momentum, and it's going to take you 1 to 2 steps before you can slide again, instead making you crouch. Likewise, if you want to completely 180, it's great to do so because you can turn around very quickly, making you extremely difficult to hit and predict where you're going to go, but you need to wait at least a step before crouching in order to get a slide. As you see me doing here, though, you could still turn to a 45-degree angle and get a slide in, giving you that slide movement increase, quickly changing direction and making yourself harder to hit. Some legends are just easier to hit in general, though, and those are the ones you should focus. In a team fight or almost any situation, the less enemies you have against you, the better. So an early knockout is key. Looking for enemy Gibraltars, Caustics, or Pathfinders are going to be easier to kill than somebody like Wraith or Bangalore. Gibraltar and these bigger characters not only are much taller, but also wider enemies, with also wider hitboxes. And on top of that, it doesn't matter if you hit them in the arm, the hand, or dead center torso, it does the same damage. The only caveat being the feet and legs do less damage if you hit those. On top of that, if you focus fire as a team a specific enemy, they will melt incredibly fast. This game was designed around team play, and as such, the time to kill has been adjusted for that as well. Calling out who you're focusing with your team could make it so you get an instant drop on their Gibraltar, making it now a 3v2 fight, and putting them on the defensive. Especially if you're engaging from very far away or with a sniper rifle, taking shots at a Bangalore increases her movement speed, making her even harder to hit if you miss the first shot. With the extremely small player models and hitbox that her, alongside Lifeline and Wraith have, they're a much more difficult target to actually connect with. While it's important to know what legends the enemies are playing, it's just as important to know what weapons they're using. Not only for the sake of which guns will win in which fights most of the times. For example, if the enemy's using a shotgun, you don't want to push them if you only have an assault rifle, but also to know if they are shooting from range, how difficult of a target they'll be. All legends move at the same speed with any weapon in their hand, and slightly faster if their weapon's away. But, depending on which weapon you have, it does adjust how fast you move while aimed down sight, especially Gibraltar, who seems to move a bit slower with that shield out. Regardless of who it is, though, if you hear an LMG constantly rattling off shots, you know that target is going to be moving extremely slow. Whereas if you hear a wingman cracking off constant shots, it'll be much more difficult to connect with because they can constantly strafe around at a faster speed. The heavier the gun, the slower the strafing speed will be. And the lighter gun, with pistols and SMGs, you'll have a very fast strafe speed. Not only something you should worry about, but also something you should take advantage of. Even if it's relatively faster, though, it's still going to be slower than running at normal speed. So if anybody's shooting, they'll be the easier target. This can give you an advantage in close range as well by hip firing and keeping your mobility up. While the enemy's trying to aim down sight and line up a shot, they're moving extremely slow. You can take advantage of that by continually moving around, jumping, and changing position to get the drop on them. It's always going to be situational, but hopefully this is a good place to help get you started. Those are really the key points that I wanted to get across today, but there were a few other points that I wanted to at least talk about that were mentioned in the comments, as well as have been brought up during my chat. One of those being the wall peek. If you let go forward as you're climbing up a wall, you can actually hold on to it and peek over. While this definitely is a really cool trick, you're also leaving your character completely still. So if anybody has a sniper, you're going to be the easiest headshot in the world if they do see you from the other side of the wall, as well as a completely sitting target for anybody who might flank you behind the wall. You also can't shoot from this position, so it's really just designed to grab some intel. And I haven't found any great use for this yet. Another honorable mention goes to blocking the doorway. Especially early on in this game, this actually is quite a viable tip. That being, if you get knocked out or you're using Caustic even, you can throw down a trap or body block yourself behind a closed door so that it cannot be opened. Most people know, though, that the counter to this is another honorable mention tip. You can just kick the door right on down. 2 melee hits into a door and the entire thing shatters. That being said, still definitely worth giving it a shot if your team is knocked out inside the building, waiting to be revived. Go sit yourself in front of a door. Maybe they don't know they can kick it down and open it. And maybe there's no additional window they could just look through to throw a grenade through or something, which many buildings do have. There's tons of other minute details that I've picked up while I've played, and from everything that I've read and seen online and seen from other players, but these have really been the key takeaways that I've learned and what I'm trying to implement into my gameplay. If you want to see some more highlights from myself using some of these strategies, as well as some funny moments not using them, check out some of my other highlights on the channel. And if you're interested in seeing full-length gameplays where you can see all my mistakes and successes, check out my second channel, Stone Mountain Plays. Better yet, catch it all live over on my Facebook streams every single day except Sunday. I also recommend joining in on our Discord server, link in the description below. They are now a fantastic sponsor of my channels. It's a completely free text and voice chat service. You can join in on my server or the millions of other ones that are out there. Mine is designed around finding some squads in Apex, as well as hanging out and meeting other people in the community. That's it for this one, though. Thank you guys so much for watching. YOLO on the Apex is coming soon, so stay tuned. This is Stone Mountain 64, over and out.